Good morning, students. We are continuing our discussion on chapter 10, Sher Shah Suri, who defeated Humayun and established the Sur dynasty. We talked about his central administrative structure in the last class. We found that at the top of the central administration, it was the position of the king, or Sher Shah was at the top, and there were several other departments to fulfill all kinds of responsibilities. Today we will discuss about the provincial government or provincial structure of Sher Shah. Now see these students, his empire was divided into sarkars, and the sarkars or the Sikhs or the provinces were divided into parganas, and parganas were divided into villages, kind of modern day structure. In our modern day society, the country is divided into states. The states are divided into districts. The districts are divided into blocks, and the blocks are divided into village or town. This is the modern structure, and Sher Shah introduced this one. He divided his empire into few Sikh or sarkars or the provinces, and the provinces or the sarkars or the Sikhs were divided into parganas, and the parganas or the districts were divided into villages. This was the administrative structure of Sher Shah in the provinces, and you can understand with this structure it was quite modern. That's why in modern day also we follow this kind of pattern. Now go through this note. A village was the smallest unit of administration. The smallest part of empire was the village. A group of villages constructed the parganas. We have just now discussed and seen in that structure. And few parganas formed a Sikh, which is equivalent to sarkar or provinces. We have already talked about that. That means Sher Shah divided his empire into few Sikh or sarkar or provinces. The provinces were divided into parganas or the districts, and the districts or the parganas were divided into villages. So village was the small unit. However, in few areas such as Punjab, Malwa, Bengal, and several Sikhs were placed under an officer, special officer, because these were the sensitive areas. That's why to get a good control, officers were appointed. Mainly Sher Shah divided his empire into 47 sarkars or Sikh. Sarkars were administered by Afghan chiefs, and several officials such as Sikdaran. We were talking about the two special officers appointed by Sher Shah to look after the provinces. These two officers were Sikdaran and Munsifan. The Sikdar looked after law and order. That means he maintained law and order. He maintained all kind of rules and regulation in the provinces, while the Munsif was in charge of revenue collection. That means Munsif was responsible to collect taxes from the people, from the peasants, and counting those amount of taxes, and to look after that how it could be increased, and all the information he must pass to the king Sher Shah. To prevent corruption and concentration of power in the hands of the officials, Sher Shah frequently transferred his officials. That means he didn't want that a certain officer should become corrupted, and that's why he frequently changed their position, so they don't get the time to get used to with the area, and that's why they couldn't become corrupted. It was Sher Shah's apply. Officials of the villages were under the control of Muqaddams. He was the sole link between government and the village. Muqaddams were responsible to inform each and every activities in the villages. to the king Sher Shah. He maintained law and order. Along with that, there was another official which was called Patwari, was a village record keeper. Still now in our panchayat system, this post is there and the responsibilities are same. So students, now we will continue our discussion about the military administration of Sher Shah. Sher Shah followed Alauddin Khalji's policy of direct recruitment of soldiers, and along with that you already studied about that, the Chehra and Dag policy to maintain the number of horses and then to maintain the number of soldiers in terms of paying cash. Dag and Chehra we already studied in Alauddin Khalji's chapter. He paid the soldiers in cash. His army was well trained, disciplined and equipped with artillery. That means they have the arms. That means Sher Shah followed a strict policy of military control. That's why he trained his soldiers properly with proper arms. He had divided the military or the army into units. Unit under a commander. That means the whole military group was divided into small units, and one unit must be under one commander. Garrisons, a group of soldiers guarding a town or building, were also established in different areas, important areas, commercially important areas, or where Sher Shah can have profit in those particular areas. Cantonments, a military camp, were also established in different strategic parts under a Fauzdar. That means under a Fauzdar who would have a troop and situated in certain cantonment areas or important areas. Still nowadays also in our military administration, few cities or few parts of a city is selected as cantonment where soldiers garrison should be posted. So Sher Shah also followed that policy for the security for the internal security of the provinces, and that's under the official called Fauzdar. Judicial administration, Sher Shah introduced a proper judicial administration where the civil cases related to revenue, tax, land, these kind of cases, it was under the jurisdiction of Qazi, and criminal cases were taken up by the Sikdar. That means criminal cases related to murder, theft, like these cases would be dealt by Sikdar. And the responsibility of detecting crimes rested upon the Mukaddams, that what kind of crime a person has committed and what kind of punishment the person should get, all will be under the control of Mukaddam. If failed to capture the culprit, he was liable to severe punishment. If he cannot catch the criminal, he has to answer that or he would get punishment. Punishment of any crime was severe to prevent people from committing them, so that it was tough, hard, but it was applied so that people should keep distance from committing any kind of crimes.